Hello, welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with A Free Woman on God's Earth. Chapter 1. The year was 1751, and there were slaves then, even in Massachusetts. Being a slave often meant not having enough to eat, or warm clothes to wear, or enough sleep. Some slaves were beaten. The consequences of not doing what one was told were often unbearable. Although the country had been home to the native people for thousands of years, to the colonists it was wild and new. The land was filled with trees in an endless forest as far as the eye could see. The nearby hills teemed with bears, wolves, foxes, and lions. The sky was filled with birds. Fish were abundant in clear, swift streams. To the settlers it seemed like a howling wilderness. They had arrived in Sheffield only 25 years earlier. Forests had been cleared to build houses and plant crops. Life was hard. Everyone had to work. Fathers and mothers, grandparents and children all had chores. Everyone had their share in the daily tasks, and there was much work to be done. Crops had to be planted and harvested, wood chopped, clothing woven and sewn, animals fed and milked, gardens tended. Some families had servants to help out, and others had slaves. Colonel Ashley was an important man in the town of Sheffield. He was a lawyer, a judge, a farmer, and landowner. He and Mrs. Ashley had 4 children: John, Mary, Jane, and Hannah. They had a few servants but needed more help. His father-in-law was a wealthy man and sent him 3 slaves as a gift for the family. They would do the work now. The little girl, Bet, who arrived the cool May morning, was expected to take on many household chores, working throughout the day. Bet's first months at her new home seemed endless. Each day brought new chores, new things to learn, and new challenges to overcome. She longed to play with the other children, but Mrs. Ashley would not allow her to play even for a minute. Bet, come here and get this hearth clean. I don't want to see a speck of ash. Do you understand? Mrs. Ashley commanded. Yes, ma'am. Bet not only swept the hearth, she collected kindling for the fires and warmed the house. She carried the water and made the beds. She often looked to the Ashley girls for understanding, but they took no notice of her. Bet, this bed isn't tight enough. Come and make it again. Bet sighed, but she knew she had no choice but to listen to the mistress. Punishment was not uncommon in the Ashley household. Bet, fetch the eggs and hurry, and then get the water for the washing, and mind you don't dally by the river. There's more work to be done. Come to me in the parlor when you are finished. Yes, ma'am. She wished she could join the Ashley children for their studies. Her mind and spirit yearned for knowledge. The days were long and hard. Her arms ached from chopping wood and carrying water, and she was tired of building fires in the house's many fireplaces. There were a few bright moments that helped lift her spirits. Come here, child. Come and help me with this bacon, called Scylla, seeing that Bet had finished the water through the well. Coming, Scylla, Bet called. Scylla was the closest thing Bet had to a mother. Bet ran to her, and the woman patted her on the head. Bet would have liked to have hugged the older woman, but there was work to be done. Fetch me some rosemary for this bed, Scylla said, winking at the young child. She knew that Bet was happy to do this, for her favorite place was in the garden among the herbs and flowers. Often after weeding the main family's garden, she rambled in the woods and collected wild herbs in a basket she had made. Before she had been enslaved to the Ashley family, Bet's mother had taught her which plants were for eating and which were for healing. Collecting them always made her feel closer to her mother. Scylla was a good teacher too. She taught Bet how to recognize and use medicinal plants that grew alongside the kitchen herbs and in the woods. Bet lingered for a moment in the garden, taking in the fragrant smells. She watched the honeybees buzzing from flower to flower, collecting pollen. She liked to lift her face to the sun, letting its rays warm her. Then, knowing she had to help bake bread for the family's table, she reluctantly plucked the rosemary and returned to the kitchen. Tomorrow she would make candles for the family's lights and help with the hazardous task of making soap for their baths and washing up. Bet dreaded this task because she knew that she would have to stir the dangerous lye in the large kettle outside, making sure no lumps spoiled the fine slope. It was a weary life for a young girl, but Bet was a slave, so even if she was exhausted, she had to complete her task before she was allowed to rest. She couldn't go to her small bed until all the work was done, and she had to rise before the sun came up. And that's the end of that chapter. See you later.